February 16, 1944. 23:11 local time. 180 feet beneath Truk Lagoon's glassy skin. USS Archerfish hangs motionless, a 312-foot shadow nursing dying batteries. Sweat beads on Commander Joseph F. Enright's temples. Rolls down the collar of his khaki shirt already black with grime. The control room reeks of diesel, unwashed bodies, and the sharp bite of fear sweat. Air temperature, 104 degrees and climbing. The bilge sloshes ankle deep. The pumps wheeze like consumptives. Sonar Man Chief Tommy Kowalski presses the headphones so hard his ears bleed. Skipper, new contact. Heavy screws, high RPM. Bearing 275. She's big and fast. Enright's eyes flick to the plotting table. One fat blip. One chance. He has 6 torpedoes left, 4 bow tubes loaded with the new electric Mark 18s, 2 stern with the troublesome Mark 14s. The Mark 18s are silent, wakeless, but unproven. The Mark 14s? Circular runs, premature detonations, duds, Russian roulette and steel tubes. He whispers the order. Up periscope. The scope hisses upward. 6 seconds. Enright's world shrinks to a circle of green night vision. There, Shokaku, 31,000 tons of arrogance, pagoda mast floodlit, escorts fanned like petals. Range, 4,200 yards and closing. Her deck is a city of aircraft. 24 Zeros, 18 Vals, 18 Kates, every pilot a veteran of Pearl or Coral Sea. Irreplaceable. Downscope, battle stations, silent running. Just the soft click of the torpedo data computer as Lieutenant Commander Bob McNitt dials in speed, bearing gyro angles. Batteries at 12%. Temperature 107 degrees AUV. A machinist's mate faints. 2 sailors drag him aft. Enright's voice is calm, almost conversational. Firing point procedures. Tube 1, set. Set. Shoot. 6 fish leap into the black. 45 seconds to impact. On Shokaku's bridge, Captain Matsuda Hiroshi sips tea from a porcelain cup. A lookout spots the faint luminescent wakes. Torpedoes. Port quarter. The cup shatters. Alarms howl. The carrier heels hard to starboard, engines screaming to 32 knots. Too late. Boom. The third fish punches the starboard hull just forward of the island. A geyser climbs higher than the flight deck. Lights flicker. The fourth strikes the Avgas magazine. Orange hell erupts. O256. Shokaku's innards become a furnace. The fourth torpedo tears open the starboard Avgas manifold. Vaporized 100-octane flashes into a blue-white sun that punches through 3 decks and erupts from the hangar like a volcano. Parked Zeros ignite wing to wing. Aluminum melts into silver rivers. A Kate's 1,800-pound warhead cooks off. Secondary blasts ripple fore to aft in perfect, murderous cadence. Flight deck. Ensign Yamada Taro is hurled 20 feet, flight suit ablaze. He rolls, screaming, until a deckhand throws himself across the flames. The stench. Burning cordite, aviation fuel, human hair. Below Chief Engineer Commander Sakurai Renji claws through smoke thick as cotton. Water gushes through a hole the size of a truck. He slams the voice tube. Flooding C-12, C-14, shoring crews now. Pumps are dead. The hit severed the main bus. Emergency lanterns swing in the dark like hanged men. 2 miles away, Archerfish shudders from the pressure wave. Enright's eardrums pop. Kowalski rips off his headphones. The pings have become a roar. Multiple hits, she's burning, Skipper. Enright's triumph lasts 1 heartbeat. Rig for depth charge, dive to 400 feet. Plainsmen spin wheels. Archerfish noses down, screws biting. Batteries at 8%. Temperature 110 degree bribe. Men stripped to waistbands, skin shining like fish. Above, Shokaku lists 15 degrees. Captain Matsuda grips the binnacle. Voice over 1MC. All hands prepare to abandon, save the air crews. But the flight deck is an inferno. Fuel cascades down elevator wells. The island glows cherry red. A Zero's drop tank ruptures. Liquid fire sluices into the sea, setting the water itself alight. Destroyer Nowaki races in, hoses ready, too late. The 6th torpedo, Enright's stern shot strikes aft. The explosion lifts the stern, slams it back. Propellers thrash air. Steering gone. Matsuda watches the rising sun flag catch a spark, curl, become ash. In the lagoon, escort skippers stare through binoculars, mouths open. Admiral Ozawa aboard Zuikaku receives the call. Shokaku burning uncontrollably. Request scuttle. Ozawa's hand trembles. One submarine. He has lost more pilots tonight than in the entire Philippine Sea. Below, Archerfish levels at 400 feet. Depth charges bloom 800 yards astern. Harmless. But more screws churn overhead. The hunt begins, and Shokaku has minutes. Aero 315. Shokaku rolls to port, 28 degrees and climbing. Deck edges kiss the sea. Sailors slide down the canting steel like ants on a burning log. A Val dive bomber, fuel tanks ruptured, tumbles overboard, and crushes a whaleboat already overloaded with pilots. The water around the hull is a lake of fire. Men leap into it anyway, hair igniting on contact. Some swim through flames. Others sink beneath the weight of their own flight gear. Captain Matsuda stands at the voice tube, refusing the life raft. He keys the fleet circuit. Shokaku to all ships, we fought well. Tell Tokyo. The pilots were magnificent. Static answers. He releases the key, bows once to the empty bridge, and steps into the smoke. Below, Commander Sakurai's damage control teams are waist-deep in fuel oil. The forward magazine floods, but the after one cooks at $900 degrees. He orders sprinklers full open, salt water on Avgas. Steam explodes through ruptured pipes, flash boiling men alive. Their screams echo in the ventilation shafts like lost souls. Flight leader Lieutenant Commander Tomonaga Joichi drags two wounded ensigns toward the port catwalk. A bulkhead buckles with a metallic shriek. Superheated steam jets across the hangar, peeling paint and flesh. Tomonaga shields the boys. His leather jacket splits, skin blistering white. He looks up through the smoke. The flight deck a sculpture of twisted zeros. His squadron, gone. He whispers, Baka. 400 feet below, Archerfish is a steel lung running out of air. Batteries at 4%. Bilge knee-deep, pumps wheeze. Enright's shirt sticks like wet paper. He turns to McNitt. Time to evasion? Escorts boxing us, skipper. 10 minutes if we move. If we stay, batteries die and we sink. Enright's eyes flick to the temperature gauge. 120 degrees. Men faint in rows. One sailor's nose bleeds steadily onto the deck plates. Up to 60 feet, slow ahead. Ghost out under the burning oil. Archerfish rises like a bubble through syrup. Sonar screams. Screws everywhere. Destroyer Samadar charges the slick, convinced the sub must surface. 0330. Shokaku rolls. Bow lifts. A dying whale breaching. Then crashes. The island tears free with a shriek and cartwheels into the sea. The pagoda mast floats upright. Searchlights sweeping the sky before it vanishes. Hundreds in the water. Some cling to rafts, others to bodies. Oil fire spreads in a perfect circle, a funeral pyre 2 football fields wide. A Zero's engine drags a pilot beneath. His scream bubbles red. Aboard Nawaki, signalman counts. 1,272 accounted for. 500 still aboard when the hull folds along frame 112. Stern rises vertical, screws frozen, then the 830-foot length slides under in a roar of air. Bubbles the size of houses carry flight jackets, sake bottles. A child's get a sandal. Depth charges walk the slick overhead. Samadar's skipper furious. How can a sub vanish beneath a burning carrier? Full pattern, 24 charges shallow. Archerfish at 58 feet, 2 knots. First charge 40 yards off starboard. The boat leaps, light bulbs shatter. Depth gauge explodes in glass. Men thrown into bulkhead's blood-slicking deck. Enright's mouth a hard line. Steady, hold depth. Second salvo. Closer. Pressure hull groans. Rivets ping into bilge. Torpedo tube door buckles with a gunshot crack. But the burning oil does its work. Samadar's sonar paints hell, the sub's signature lost. Destroyer races past, drops one more pattern 300 yards astern, then circles survivors. 0342. Lagoon quiet except for steam hiss and cries in 6 languages. Archerfish limps east at 70 feet. Batteries dead, running on hope and 1 battle lantern. Enright exhales. Turns to crew. 48 gaunt faces in red glow. We just killed a fleet carrier with a boat older than most of you. Now let's live to brag. Behind, oil fire burns until dawn. Black pillar visible 50 miles. Tokyo receives flash at 0510. Shokaku sunk by submarine. Air group destroyed. Enemy strength unknown. In Imperial War Diary, 1 red line. The hunter has become the hunted. February 17, 1944. 0549. Truck Lagoon. Surface. The sun ignites the horizon like a magnesium flare. It turns the oil-slick water into a mirror of blood and gold, reflecting the floating debris of empire. A Zero's tail section. Rising sun roundel blistered black. A flight deck catapult twisted into modern art. A porcelain teacup. Captain Matsuda's. Bobbing intact beside a severed human hand still clutching a logbook. Destroyer Nowaki lowers her last whaleboat. Sailors row through the carnage, hauling survivors with boat hooks. Some men are silent, eyes fixed on the middle distance where Shokaku used to be. Others scream for brothers churned under by the screws. A lieutenant cradles a scorched photo of his wife. The ink has melted into a Rorschach blot, but he kisses it anyway. Aboard Zuikaku, Admiral Ozawa Jisaburo stands on the bridge wing, binoculars trembling in liver-spotted hands. The lagoon is a graveyard of his air arm. 72 aircraft gone, 60 pilots with them. Tomonaga, Yamada, Takahashi. Names he toasted last night over warm sake. Gone before breakfast. He lowers the glasses. His flag lieutenant waits, pencil poised over the signal pad. Ozawa's voice is a husk. Signal Tokyo. Shokaku lost a single submarine contact. Recommend immediate review of night escort doctrine, and... He swallows hard. Cancel all pilot training flights until further notice. We have no one left to teach. The message crackles across 2,000 miles of ether. In the Imperial General Headquarters map room, Vice Admiral Motome Ugaki slams a fist on the table, cracking the glass overlay. 1 boat, he snarls. 1 American boat. Back in the lagoon, a Japanese seaman spots something glinting in the debris. He rows over, fishes it out with shaking hands. A U.S. Navy officer's cap, gold braid intact, the name J.F. Enright stitched inside the sweatband. He stares at it, then hurls it into the oil with a curse that echoes across the water. 60 miles east, USS Archerfish finally breaks the surface at 0551. Diesel's cough to life like an old smoker clearing his throat. Dawn light spills through the open hatch, painting the control room gold for the first time in 48 hours. Men blink like moles emerging from hell. Someone laughs, high, hysterical, then sobs. Enright climbs the conning tower ladder, legs rubbery, and steps into the wind. The sea is empty. No escorts, no aircraft. Just the smell of salt, and the distant column of black smoke still rising from truck. He lifts borrowed binoculars. The lagoon is a smudge on the horizon, but he can still see the fire. McNitt joins him, offering a mug of coffee strong enough to float a piston. Think they know who we are yet, Skipper? Enright sips, winces at the burn. They will, and they'll put a price on our heads big enough to buy Hawaii. Below, the crew breaks open emergency rations. Spam, hardtack, a single bottle of medicinal brandy passed hand to hand. Kowalski raises it in a toast. To the Shokaku. May she rust in peace. They drink. Someone starts singing, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, off-key but loud. The sound carries across the empty sea. Enright allows himself one more look west. The smoke column is thinning, but the message it carries will reach every Japanese carrier from here to Tokyo Bay. The hunter can be hunted. The sword has 2 edges. He turns the binoculars forward. Pearl Harbor is 3,200 miles away. Home. Hot food. A letter from his wife that's been chasing him since October. He keys the bridge microphone. All ahead 2/3. Steer course 090. Let's go collect our bounty. Archerfish leans into the sunrise, wake foaming white. Behind her, the Pacific swallows the last ember of Shokaku's pyre. The war has turned another invisible corner, and somewhere in the Imperial War Council a new map is already being inked. Red arrows for submarines, black crosses for carriers lost. One boat, one night. One name the Japanese will never forget. February 18, 1944, 1427, COMSOPAC headquarters, Pearl Harbor. The teletype clatters like machine gun fire. A yeoman rips the yellow sheet free, sprints down the corridor, and slaps it onto Admiral Charles Lockwood's desk. Lockwood, pipe clenched in teeth, eyes bloodshot from 3 days without sleep, reads the decoded intercept twice. Arrowfish, SIC reports sinking Shokaku class CV truck 17. Feb 6 torpedo salvo, 4 hits. Target observed breaking up and sinking, 0342. Local escort searching. Arrowfish clear. Lockwood exhales a plume of cherry tobacco. Enright, he mutters. That son of a gun finally bagged his whale. He grabs the red phone to sync pack. Nimitz picks up on the first ring. Charlie, you seeing this? Seeing it, Chester, and believing it. One Gato boat, one night, one fleet carrier, that's 31,000 tons and half the Jap air replacement pool. Nimitz's voice crackles with rare excitement. Get Enright a Navy Cross, and tell the press boys to sit on it until we confirm the kill. Tokyo's going to scream. Back in the Imperial Navy's Yokosuka war room, the scream has already started. Admiral Ozawa's report lands on Combined Fleet Chief of Staff Kusaka Ryunosuke, S desk at 09, Saro, Tokyo time. Kusaka reads it, face paling beneath the fluorescent lights. He summons every carrier skipper in port, Taiho, Zuikaku, Junyo, to an emergency council. The room is a shrine of silence. Kusaka lays out the intercept photos. Aerial recon from a truck-based Betty shows only oil and wreckage. No Shokaku. He slams a fist on the table. One submarine, one. We lost more experienced pilots in 6 hours than in the entire Marianas campaign. Explain this. Captain Omai Toshikazu of Zuikaku speaks first, voice hoarse. Sir, the Americans have new torpedoes. Electric. No wake. Our lookouts saw nothing until impact. Another skipper, Commander Fuchida Mitsuo, veteran of Pearl Harbor, adds quietly, and their sonar is better. Or their codes, or both. We are blind at night. Kusaka's eyes narrow. Then we fight blind no longer. Effective immediately. All carriers sail with double destroyer screens after dark. Zigzag patterns every 15 minutes. And every pilot with over 200 hours is grounded until we rebuild the training pipeline. Fuchida bows his head. He knows what that means. The kid pilots, the ones with 50 hours in a Kate, will fly the next missions. Suicide. Meanwhile, 800 miles south, USS Archerfish threads the needle between Ulithi and Yap. Enright stands on the bridge, salt wind drying the sweat on his neck for the first time in a week. The diesels thrum steady at 14 knots. Lookouts sweep 360 degrees with binoculars that never leave their eyes. McNitt climbs up with a fresh signal, flimsy. Skipper COMSOPAC wants a full debrief, and they're routing us through Midway for fuel. Also, he grins. The boys in crypto say Tokyo's calling you Enright the Ghost. They've put 1 million yen on your head. Enright snorts. Tell them to make it dollars. I don't trust their exchange rate. Below, the crew has turned the torpedo room into a shrine. Someone's painted a tiny Shokaku silhouette on the bulkhead, 4 red slashes through it. Kowalski adds a cartoon ghost with Enright's face. Laughter echoes through the boat. Real laughter, the kind that comes after surviving the unsurvivable. But Enright's mind is already racing ahead. Shokaku was one of 6 carriers at Truk. The others will be hunting now. And the Mark 18 torpedoes? Only 4 left in the racks. He turns to McNitt. Tell the torpedo gang to baby those fish. Next target might not be so generous. Far to the west, in a Manila brothel turned makeshift hospital, a Shokaku survivor, Ens Yamada Taro, face swathed in bandages, wakes screaming from nightmares of fire. A Filipino nurse holds his hand. Through the window he can see the bay where Japanese transports unload fresh pilots. Boys, 18, 19, their flight suits still creased from the factory. Yamada whispers to the nurse, "They're sending children now." The legend of the ghost submarine spreads faster than any torpedo. In Tokyo bars, in Pearl Harbor mess halls, in the White House Situation Room where FDR reads The Intercept and chuckles. Well, Joe Enright just paid for his boat twice over, and somewhere in the deep, another American submarine, USS Kavala, USS Darter, USS Harder, picks up the scent of a new convoy. The hunters multiply. The hunted learn fear. One night, one kill. A war tilted on a knife's edge. March 3, 1944, 0214. 120 miles west of the Marianas. USS Archerfish runs submerged at 150 feet. Batteries recharged at midway. Bellies full of fresh Spam and real coffee. The air is almost cool, 92 degrees, and the crew moves with the quiet swagger of men who've already beaten death once. Enright stands over the chart table, grease pencil in hand. A new Ultra Intercept from Pearl. IJN carrier Junyo detached from truck strike force proceeding Yap independently. ETA-04 Mar, escorted by 2 destroyers. 1 carrier. 2 escorts. Same odds, different deck. McNitt taps the plot. She's lighter than Shokaku skipper, 24,000 tons, but still carries 40 planes. And her skipper, Captain Miyazaki, is sharp. He was at Midway. Enright's eyes narrow. Then he knows what happened to Shokaku. He'll be jumpy. Good. The plan is simple, brutal. Shadow the carrier at extreme range, wait for night, then strike from the dark quadrant. No moon tonight. Perfect. Sonar picks up the first screws at 2347. Junyo's characteristic twin-shaft thrum, 33,000 shaft horsepower. Escorts, destroyer Harusami pinging ahead, Hibiki sweeping the rear. They're zigzagging every 10 minutes now, Ozawa's new doctrine. But zigzags are predictable if you count the seconds. Kowalski's voice is a whisper. Bearing 240, range 20,000 yards and closing. They're running dark, skipper. No lights, no emissions. Enright smiles in the red glow. Tokyo's learning. Let's teach them the tuition just went up. Archerfish goes forward at 3 knots, hugging the thermocline layer where sound bends like light through glass. The Japanese sonar can't see through it. Not yet. 0158. Range, 8,000 yards. Enright raises the periscope for 3 seconds. Junyo's silhouette is a black cutout against the stars, flight deck empty. Planes below, safe from dew. Miyazaki is cautious, smart. Downscope. Firing point procedures. Bow tubes only. 4 fish spread for the length of the hull. McNitt dials the TDC. Solution set. Gyro angles 015 to 020. Shoot. 4 Mark 18s hiss into the black. Runtime 4 minutes. Aboard Junyo, Captain Miyazaki paces the bridge, sake cup untouched. He's read the Shokaku action report 3 times. Every night since truck he's doubled the lookouts, ordered random course changes, even banned smoking on deck. His exec, Commander Sato, yawns beside him. "Sir, we're 400 miles from the nearest American base. No sub can..." A lookout scream cuts him off. "Torpedoes, starboard bow." Miyazaki spins. Zaki. 4 luminescent wakes arrow straight for his waterline. He slams the alarm gong. "Hard left rudder. Full speed. Signal Harusam." Boom! The first fish strikes frame 68, just aft of the forward elevator. A dull thud, not the fireball of Shokaku. Junyo shudders but keeps way. Boom! Second hit amidships, flooding. List 5 degrees. Miyazaki's voice is ice. "Damage report." Sato keys the voice tube. "2 hits, sir. Forward pump room gone. We're taking water but magazine's dry." The 3rd and 4th fish miss astern. Junyo's desperate turn saved her. Miyazaki snarls into the fleet circuit. "Submarine contact. Harusame, Hibiki box pattern. Depth charges, full spread." Below, Archerfish is already diving. Enright counts the seconds. Rig for silent. Take her to 400. The first depth charge blooms 500 yards astern, close enough to rattle teeth. Then the pattern walks overhead like thunder in a tin box. Hibiki's skipper is good. He's using the new Type 95 charges set shallow. The boat leaps. A battery jar cracks. Acid hisses across the deck plates. Lights flicker. A depth gauge shatters. Men cling to pipes. Faces lit by emergency red. Enright's voice cuts through the chaos. Steady. They think we're running. Let them chase ghosts. Archerfish settles at 420 feet, dead silent. Batteries at 40%. The Japanese drop 30 charges in 8 minutes, then circle, pinging furiously. But the thermocline holds. The pings fade. Harusami breaks off to rejoin Junyo, now limping east at 18 knots, flooding controlled but pride wounded. Enright surfaces at 0430, 40 miles clear. He drafts the contact report. Junyo damaged, 2 torpedo hits, escorts aggressive, recommend Wolfpack follow-up. Pearl receives it at 070. Lockwood reads it, grins around his pipe. Enright's turning into a damn legend. Get Kavala and Dace in the area. Let's finish what he started. In Tokyo, Kusaka receives the Junyo report at 10 gaung. His face is stone. 2 carriers hit in 2 weeks, both by the same ghost boat. He summons the intelligence chief. Find me everything on Commander Joseph F. Enright. I want his patrol routes, his crew, his favorite breakfast. Then put a destroyer screen around every carrier from here to Singapore. The chief bows. Sir, that would require 400 destroyers. We have 62. Kusaka's fist hits the table. Then we build more, or we lose the war. And in the deep, Archerfish reloads her last 4 torpedoes, turns north and vanishes into the black. The ghost is hungry. March 15th, 1944. 1903. Imperial Japanese Navy Headquarters, Tokyo Bay. The war room is a crypt of cigarette smoke and fluorescent pallor. Admiral Kusaka Ryunosuke stands before a wall-sized chart of the Pacific, red pins marking every submarine contact since Pearl Harbor. A fresh pin, blood red, sits west of the Marianas. Archerfish 3 Mar Junyo damaged. Beside it, a black cross. Shokaku, 17 Feb, sunk. Kusaka's intelligence officer, Captain Kojima Takeo, lays a dossier on the table. The cover is stamped in crimson. Top secret, Enright file. Commander Joseph Francis Enright, Kojima begins. Age 33, Annapolis 33. Previous patrol, 0 kills. Relieved for cause after missing Taiho in 43. Reinstated after crew petition. Known to favor Mark 18 electric torpedoes. Operates at night, extreme range. Crew loyalty, fanatical. Kusaka flips the page. A grainy photo. Enright on Archerfish's bridge, lean face, eyes like gun barrels. Another page. Intercepted radio chatter, decoded by station hypo. A third. A 1,000,000 yen bounty notice already printed for distribution to every destroyer skipper. Kusaka taps the photo. This man has cost us 2 carriers in 1 month. I want him dead or on a prison ship. Assigned Destroyer Division 7, Captain Yamanaka commanding. 4 Akizuki class, best sonar in the fleet. Tell them the bounty is theirs if they bring me Enright's head. Kojima hesitates. Sir, that strips the home islands of air defense, the B-29s. Kusaka cuts him off. Then let the bombers come. Without carriers, we have no empire to defend. Meanwhile, 200 miles south, USS Archerfish threads the Palau shipping lanes at periscope depth. Enright hasn't slept in 36 hours. His eyes are red slits, but his voice is steady as he studies the latest ultra. IJN Desdiv 7 detached, course 180, speed 28 knots. Mission, hunt Archerfish. McNitt whistles low. 4 tin cans with the new Type 3 sonar. They're not playing anymore, Skipper. Enright's grin is wolfish. Good, let's give them a target. The plan is madness. Surface at dusk, transmit a fake position report in the clear, then dive deep and run silent under a known Japanese convoy route. Bait the hunters into a killing box where USS Dace and USS Darter wait in ambush. Wolfpack tactics, American style. 21:17. Archerfish breaks surface in a rain squall. The radio shack sparks a message. Archer fish to com subpack. Position 0715 and 134 WWII. Low on battery. Request rendezvous. The coordinates are 80 miles off true position. Enright counts the minutes. Dive. Rig for silent. Take her to test depth, 600 feet. The boat groans as pressure builds. 500, 550, 600. The hull pops like knuckles. Men breathe shallow. The temperature climbs to 115 degrees. Batteries at 18%. Sonar picks up the hunters at 2244. 4 screws, high speed, pinging like church bells. Desdiv 7, right on cue. Aboard lead destroyer Akizuki, Captain Yamanaka studies the intercept. American submarine transmitting in clear, arrogant, or wounded. Either way we take him. He orders a sprint to the fake coordinates. 32 knots. The division fans into a line abreast, sonar sweeping. Below, Archerfish lies doggo on the bottom at 612 feet, a steel corpse playing possum. The pings wash over her like rain on a roof. Kowalski's voice is a thread. They're 5,000 yards north, skipper, passing overhead. Enright whispers, now. Archerfish rises to 150 feet, turns south, and ghosts away at 2 knots. The Japanese race north into empty ocean. At 23:59, Dace and Darter strike. 8 torpedoes from 2 angles. Akizuki takes 3 hits, breaks in half, and sinks in 6 minutes. 187 men lost, Yamanaka among them. The Bounty dies with him. Dawn. Enright surfaces, 120 miles clear. He drafts the after-action. Desdiv 7 engagement. 1 Akizuki class sunk, 1 damaged. Archerfish undamaged, proceeding to Fremantle for refit. Pearl Harbor erupts. Lockwood pins a 2nd Navy cross on Enright's record. Nimitz cables. The ghost now haunts their nightmares. Keep him hunting. In Tokyo, Kusaka stares at the new red pin. Akizuki, 15 mar, sunk. He tears the bounty notice in half. The $1,000,000 is gone. The fear remains. And in the deep, Archerfish reloads. Her silhouette now stenciled on every Japanese chart with a single word in red. Enemy. The ghost is no longer one boat, he is a plague. April 2nd, 1944. 0311. Fremantle, Western Australia. Submarine Pier. 3. USS Archerfish lies alongside USS Fulton, fuel lines snaking across her deck like umbilical cords. The crew is sunburned, half drunk on fresh air, and already restless. Enright steps off the brow with a duffel slung over one shoulder and a sealed envelope in his hand. Eyes only. Comsub pack. Inside the envelope, new orders. Not a patrol, a mission. Operation Barbershop. Objective: penetrate the Sea of Japan, photograph the secret carrier anchorage at Kure, then sink anything that floats. 3 boats, Archerfish, Dace, and the new USS Barb under Commander Eugene Flucky. Wolfpack on steroids. Enright finds Flucky on Barb's bridge, polishing a pair of binoculars with a silk scarf. Flucky grins like a wolf spotting sheep. Heard you bagged a carrier and a destroyer division, Joe. Try not to hog all the glory this time. Enright laughs. Bring your best fish, Gene. Curie's got Shinano, biggest carrier afloat, 72,000 tons. If we scratch her, Tokyo starves for steel. April 28th, 22:40, Tsushima Strait, mouth of the Sea of Japan. The 3 boats ghost through minefields on battery power, riding the tide like thieves. Japanese patrol craft sweep the narrows, but the Americans hug the bottom at 180 feet, silent as graves. The water is 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Condensation drips from the overhead like rain. Enright's orders are clear. No transmissions, no surfacing, no contact reports until Kure is in sight. The Sea of Japan has been a Japanese lake for 40 years. Tonight, it becomes a hunting ground. May 1st, 0107. Kure Naval Arsenal, 60 feet below. Archerfish raises her periscope. The lens breaks the surface for 4 seconds. Enright's breath catches. There she is. Shinano, half converted from Yamato-class battleship, still wearing scaffolding like a bride in curlers. 70 feet long, flight deck bare but bristling with anti-aircraft guns. Beside her, Taiho, Katsuragi, Amagi. 4 fleet carriers in one harbor, enough air power to retake the Marianas. McNitt whispers, "Jesus, skipper, it's Christmas in hell." Enright lowers the scope. Load tubes 1 through 6. Mark 18s. We take Shinano first. 1 hit to the stern, cripple the screws. Then Barb and Dace finish her. The attack is textbook. Aero 2-14. 6 torpedoes spread for the length of the monster. Shinano's lookouts are watching the sky, not the water. The first fish strikes frame 210, just aft of the rudder post. A dull boom, no fireball. Shinano's armor is battleship thick, but the rudder jams hard left. The second hit floods the steering gear compartment. The third punches the propeller shaft alley. Shinano lurches, screws thrashing. Alarms howl across the anchorage. Floodlights snap on, searchlights rake the water. Destroyers race from their piers. Depth charges already rolling off racks. Archerfish dives to 500 feet. The water is shallow here. The bottom is mud and glory. The first pattern detonates 200 yards astern. The boat leaps. A battery jar cracks. Acid hisses. Lights die. Emergency red glows. Flucky's barb surfaces 30 minutes later, 10 miles clear. He fires 4 fish into Taiho's stern. 2 hits. Taiho lists, flight deck awash. Dace follows with a spread on Katsuragi. 1 hit, magazine detonation. The harbor lights up like noon. By 04, 3 Japanese carriers are burning or crippled. Shinano is beached on a mud bank, stern underwater, a 72,000-ton monument to hubris. The 4th, Amagi, escapes with minor damage, but her air group is ash. Enright surfaces at dawn, 80 miles west. The sky behind him is black with smoke visible from Korea. He drafts the contact report on a scrap of paper, hands it to the radio man. Barbershop complete. Shinano crippled, Taiho sunk, Katsuragi damaged. Archerfish, barb, Dace clear. Recommend B-29 strike on cure follow-up. Pearl receives it at 09:00. Lockwood reads it, drops his pipe. Nimitz cables FDR. Japanese carrier force effectively neutralized. Sea of Japan no longer safe haven. In Tokyo, Kusaka stares at the new map. 4 red crosses in one night. He summons the Emperor's aid. Tell His Majesty the fleet is blind. And in the deep, Archerfish turns south, her silhouette now stenciled on every Japanese chart with a new word in red. Demon. The plague has a name, and it's coming home. June 19, 1944, 0612. Pearl Harbor, Submarine Base, Pier F1. USS Archerfish glides through the channel like a returning prodigal, her battle-scarred hull streaked with rust and salt. The band on the pier strikes up anchors away, but the notes are drowned by the roar of hundreds of sailors, dubwaves, and dockworkers packed shoulder to shoulder. A banner flaps in the trade wind. Welcome home, Ghost Sub. Enright steps onto the brow, Navy cross ribbons bright against his faded khakis. Admiral Lockwood waits with a grin and a handshake that turns into a bear hug. Damned if you didn't just gut their whole carrier program, Joe. FDR wants you in Washington, press wants pictures, Hollywood wants a movie. Enright's eyes are hollow. Sir, my crew needs bunks, beer, and 48 hours of sleep in that order. Lockwood laughs. Granted. Then you're on the next clipper to D.C. Behind Enright, the crew spills onto the pier. 48 gaunt men turned bronze by Pacific sun, eyes too old for their faces. Kowalski carries the ship's battle flag, now painted with a white ghost. 4 carrier silhouettes slashed in red, 1 Akizuki destroyer beneath. A newsreel cameraman catches McNitt hoisting a bottle of Coke like champagne. The footage will play in theaters from Bangor to Bakersfield. That night, the base theater screens the gun camera film from Barb's periscope. Shinano beached, and burning Taiho's death throes, Katsuragi's magazine erupting in a mushroom of orange. The audience, submariners, nurses, Marines, erupts in cheers. Someone starts chanting, Enright, Enright. The sound rolls like thunder. June 22nd, 14 flies, the White House Oval Office. FDR wheels himself to the resolute desk, cigar clamped in teeth. Enright stands at attention, dress blues crisp, the new Distinguished Service Medal heavy on his chest. Eleanor Roosevelt pins it herself, whispering, "Your mother must be proud." FDR leans forward. "Commander, you've done more with one submarine than half my battle fleet. Tell me, what does Tokyo do now?" Enright's voice is steady. "They hide, sir. Carriers in port, pilots grounded, destroyers stretched thin. But they'll build more, and they'll hunt us harder." FDR nods. "Then we hunt harder. I'm authorizing Operation Downfall, wolfpacks in the Sea of Japan every month. You're promoted to captain, effective today. Pick your boats, pick your skippers, make them regret waking the ghost." June 25, 2340, Tokyo, Imperial General Headquarters, Sub-Basement War Room. The air is stale with defeat. Kusaka stands before a map now bleeding red. Every carrier anchorage, Kure, Sasebo, Yokosuka, marked with black crosses. A new pin, crimson, sits in the Tsushima Strait. Archerfish, Barb, Dace, Burnmei. Shinano crippled, Taiho sunk. Admiral Toyota Suemu, combined fleet commander, slams a folder on the table. Inside, a single photograph smuggled from Pearl Harbor via Swiss courier. Enright shaking FDR's hand. The caption, translated, "The demon receives his crown." Toyota's voice is gravel. "We have 400 pilots left with over 100 hours. We have 4 carriers afloat, none combat ready. We have 42 destroyers to guard 12,000 miles of ocean. And we have one name on every chart, Enright." Kusaka bows. "We are preparing Operation 10 Go, suicide picket boats, human torpedoes, anything to draw the submarines into minefields." Toyota cuts him off. "Too late. The Americans smell blood. They will come again, and again, until we have nothing left to sink." He turns to the map. With a red grease pencil, he draws a circle around the home islands. Inside it, he writes one word: starve. July 1st, 11. Fremantle, Captain's Cabin, USS Archerfish. Enright, now captain, pins a new chart to the bulkhead. The Sea of Japan, every anchorage, every convoy route. Red arrows snake north. Archerfish, Barb, Dace, Kavala, Darter, Harder, Trigger, Tirante. 8 boats. 1 mission, total blockade. He turns to his new exec, Commander McNitt, promoted for Junyo. "We're not hunting carriers anymore. We're hunting Japan itself. Every ton of rice, every gallon of oil, every bullet. We sink it, they starve." McNitt nods. "And when they send the suicide boats?" Enright's smile is winter. "We teach them what ghosts do to the living." The diesels thrum to life. Archerfish slips her lines, turns her bow north. The crew, veterans now, line the rail. Someone starts singing, low and fierce. "We are the ghost of the Pacific deep. We hunt the rising sun to sleep." The song fades into the wake. Behind them, Australia shrinks to a green smudge. Ahead, the Sea of Japan waits. Once a sanctuary, now a killing jar. The demon is coming home, and this time he's bringing friends. August 9, 1945. 04:17. Sea of Japan, 40 miles off Sassi. USS Archerfish runs at 180 feet, batteries at 62%, the hum of her electric motors barely a whisper. Captain Joseph Enright stands over the plotting table, grease pencil tracing the final red line on a chart now more red than white. Operation Starve has been running for 38 days. 8 submarines, 312 merchant ships sighted, 289 sunk, 1.8 million tons of rice, oil, coal, and ammunition now fertilizing the seabed. The Japanese merchant marine is a ghost fleet. Convoy routes are empty. Home island's ration cards read 100 grams of rice per person per day. Tokyo children lick wallpaper paste for the glue's faint sweetness. Enright's voice is soft, almost reverent. "One more patrol, boys. One more, and we break their back." McNitt taps the latest ultra-flimsy. "Intel says the last big convoy left Busan yesterday. 6 Maris, 2 destroyers, 1 light cruiser, Natori, carrying 40,000 tons of Manchurian coal. If we bag it, Japan freezes by October." Enright nods. Wolfpack converge. Barb takes the van, Dace the rear. We hit from the flanks. No survivors, no warnings. This ends tonight. August 10th, 0203. 15 miles west of Tsugaru Strait. The Japanese convoy steams in a tight box, running dark, zigzagging every 8 minutes. Lookouts strain eyes into fog. Aboard Natori, Captain Yamada Hiroshi, promoted after surviving Shokaku, paces the bridge. His radar is blind. American jammers from a distant PBM have turned the screen to snow. Below in the merchant Toyomaru, 6,000 tons of coal, the stokers shovel with hands blistered raw. A 14-year-old cabin boy clutches a letter to his mother he'll never mail. Sonar on USS Barb picks them up first. Flucky's voice crackles over the Gertrude underwater phone. Tally-ho. 6 fat ladies, 2 tin cans, 1 cruiser, let's dance. The attack is surgical. 02.14. Archerfish fires 4. Mark 18s at Toyomaru. 3 hits. The coal dust ignites. The ship becomes a Roman candle. Men leap into 48 Degafa water, clothes flash burning off their backs. 02.16. Dace looses 6 fish at Natori. 2 strike the boiler rooms. Steam explodes through the hull like a dragon's roar. The cruiser lists, fires raging from bridge to fantail. Shotu 18. Barb surfaces amid the chaos, deck gun barking 5-inch shells into the destroyers. 1 takes a hit in the magazine, gone in a red-black rose. The second tries to ram. Flucky puts 2 torpedoes in her belly. She rolls, screws still turning, and vanishes. By 02:35, the sea is oil and bodies. Natori's bow rises vertical, then slides under with a sigh. The last merchant, Hokkaido Maru, tries to beach itself on a sandbar. Archerfish surfaces. Enright on the bridge with a bullhorn. This is USS Archerfish. Abandoned ship. You have 5 minutes. The Japanese captain refuses. Enright shrugs. 1 torpedo. The ship splits like a matchstick. Coal pours into the sea in a black avalanche. Dawn. The Wolfpack surfaces in formation, 8 black hulls in a perfect line. Enright keys the fleet broadcast, voice calm. Starve complete. Convoy annihilated. 40,000 tons coal, 6 ships, 1 cruiser, 2 destroyers. Japanese merchant marine, 0 hulls over 1,000 tons still afloat. Returning Pearl. Out. Pearl Harbor receives it at 07 Gauss. Lockwood reads it aloud to the staff. No one cheers. They just stare at the map, Japan ringed in red, an island prison with no doors. August 15th, 12 hours, Tokyo, Imperial Palace. Emperor Hirohito stands before the radio microphone, voice trembling but clear. The broadcast crackles across the home islands. We have decided to accept the terms of the Potsdam Declaration. The war situation has developed not necessarily to Japan's advantage. In the sub-basement war room, Kusaka listens, face ashen. The map behind him is a slaughterhouse of red pins. He turns to Toyota. Enright did this. 1 man, 1 boat. Toyota bows his head. No, America did this. Enright was only the knife. September 2nd, 1945. USS Archerfish alongside USS Proteus, Tokyo Bay. The surrender ceremony is hours away. Enright stands on his bridge in dress whites, the Distinguished Service Medal, 2 Navy crosses, and a new Presidential Unit citation gleaming. Below, his crew, now 52 souls, reinforced with replacements, line the rail. They are silent, no songs, no cheers. Meknit offers a Coke. Skipper, you ever think we'd see this? Enright takes the bottle, doesn't drink. I think about the 3,000 Japanese sailors we sent to the bottom last night. I think about the kids in Tokyo eating rats. I think about the letter I never wrote my wife after Shokaku. He looks across the bay to Missouri, where MacArthur waits with the surrender documents, then to the horizon where the rising sun flag is already coming down. I think we won, he says. And I think winning feels like drowning. The bottle slips from his fingers, shatters on the deck. The crew doesn't flinch. Far below, in 600 feet of water off Honshu, the wrecks of Shokaku, Taiho, Natori, and 100 merchants settle into the mud. Fish dart through shattered bridges. A child's Gaeta sandal floats past a rising sun battle flag, both drifting toward the dark. The ghost has come home. The war is over. The silence is deafening.